Hello and welcome to the Week 9 episode of Tossin' the Pigskin. On today's show, we will recap Week 8 against the spread, give 3 new picks for Week 9, and finally, with our last segment, we're going to give out some Midseason Awards. Let's get to it. All right, let's get into it with our Week 8 recap against the spread. Very frustrating week to say the least. Went 1-2 overall, pushing the season record to 11-13. The first and only winner was Colts -3 at the Lions. In the second half, the Colts really pulled away, and this one was not much of a sweat at all. So that was a nice, clean, easy win. Looking at the second game, though, is when things started to get tough. Vikings at the Packers -7, and it was back and forth early on in this one, but really the Vikings pulled away in the second half, and Kirk Cousins didn't have to do much at all. Dalvin Cook and this Minnesota offensive line just absolutely imposed their will on this Green Bay defense. Green Bay really has some problems defending the run right now, specifically at inside linebacker, and that interior D-line, other than Kenny Clark, really has not been good this year, and the Vikings won the game straight up. So not only did the Packers not cover, but lost the game outright. Moving to our third and final game, which was another loss. This was Rams -3.5 at the Dolphins, and a similar story. Just like the Packers, not only did the Rams not cover, they lost the game outright. At halftime, Jared Goff already had 2 interceptions and 2 lost fumbles. The Dolphins were able to take one of those fumbles back for a defensive touchdown, and the Dolphins also had a punt return for a touchdown. So just a utter disaster from the Rams, from Goff to the whole team. Rams defense actually played pretty well, but it didn't matter because they shot themselves in the foot everywhere else. So that was the final loss. But now it's week number 9, and we seem to keep trading off from 2-1 to 1-2. Maybe we can finally get to 3-0 this week? Who knows? Betting is hard. Okay, first pick this week, Ravens -2 at the Colts. I think the only reason this line is so low is because Ravens starting corner Marlon Humphrey will miss this game. He tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this week. This is being recorded on Thursday night, so what is unclear is there is currently 5 Ravens starters on defense that have been removed from practice due to contact tracing. So it's unclear how many of those will be able to actually play on Sunday. Could be all of them, could be just some of them. Regardless, let's go ahead and assume that, say, maybe at least half of them will be on the field against the Colts, because if you're missing 5 starters from your defense, obviously that hurts. And the defense is the strength of this Ravens team. Top 5 in points per game, yards per play, and third down defense. And they're coming off a tough loss to Pittsburgh. This Ravens team is always a great rivalry game. And I think that they come out and rebound strongly against a Colts team that doesn't pose much of a threat offensively. Moving to pick number 2, Panthers at the Chiefs. I like Kansas City here, -10.5. Obviously a pretty big line, but the Chiefs are deserving of it, and I think they're going to cover this game. I think Chiefs win this one by about 14 points. You're looking at the Panthers. They've played well, and they've probably outperformed themselves this season, but they've kind of come crashing back down to earth lately. They've lost 3 in a row, and the Chiefs have won 4 out of 5, just 2 teams moving in 2 separate directions. Also, Kansas City's on a bye next week. You always want to play well going into a bye. I think they'll be focused. And looking at this Panthers defense, specifically in the secondary, starting safety Justin Burris has been placed on IR, which means a undrafted rookie free agent will be filling in his place. Against Patrick Mahomes and these wide receivers, not a good combination. Chiefs roll in this one. And last but not least, pick number 3, Saints at the Buccaneers. I like the Bucs -4.5 at home. Remember, this was a Week 1 matchup for the 2020 NFL season in New Orleans that the Saints won that game, and the Bucs definitely remember that. The Bucs are hot. They've won 3 in a row. And looking at New Orleans, what they've done, their last 3 wins have all been by 3 points. 2 of those were in overtime. So there is something to be said about a team winning games and finding a way to win, but it hasn't been pretty for New Orleans, and in my opinion, this Saints team is pretty overrated at this point in the season. Also, Buccaneers are coming off a sloppy win on Monday Night Football against the Giants. I think that refocused them in a way, and I think the Bucs win this one by about 10. With half of the NFL season officially being finished at this point, what better time than to take a look at some mid-season awards. We'll start with the Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think you got to go Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert with this one. Burrow is a compelling argument, but in my opinion, Herbert has been better. 9th in QBR in the league right now, which is impressive for a rookie, and 4th in CPOE, completion percentage over expectation, which is very impressive as a rookie. Normally, rookies in the NFL can struggle with accuracy, ball placement, all types of things. We're really seeing a totally different player than we saw at Oregon, and I don't know, I guess that's a credit to the LA coaching staff, really trusting him to throw often on early downs and dialing up some deep balls and trusting him that he's making the right decisions, and he has been. And Herbert looks great to this point. Moving over to the defensive side of the ball, Defensive Rookie of the Year, this is a tough one as well, but right now I'm going to go with Patrick Queen. The other obvious choice would be Chase Young over in Washington, but I'm going to give Queen the slight edge right now. 2 forced fumbles, 2 fumbled recoveries, has a defensive touchdown off of one of those fumble recoveries, has 2 sacks and 5 pressures. Now, 5 pressures doesn't sound like a whole lot, but for an inside linebacker, that is a wildly high number. They're using him very well over in Baltimore. Wink Martindale is one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, and he has been using Queen like he's a veteran, and you know, he's gonna have some up and down weeks just like all rookies will, but overall Queen has looked great. Keeping it moving along for the Defensive Player of the Year, I like TJ Watt over in Pittsburgh, and this was actually my preseason pick for Defensive Player of the Year, and happy to say that it's looking pretty good to this point. Obviously, still half the year to go, but to this point, he leads the league in quarterback pressures with 27. I'll say that one more time. 27 pressures, just an absurd number, and tied for 3rd in sacks with 6.5. Him and the rest of this Pittsburgh defensive line, and right now Pittsburgh is arguably the overall best defense in football, in large part because of TJ Watt. And last but not least, the Offensive Player of the Year / MVP, none other than Russell Wilson, aka Sierra's husband. This man has been on fire this year, leading the Seahawks to one of the best offenses quite possibly they've ever had. He's 1st in CPOE, 1st in passing touchdowns with 26, 1st in passer rating, and 3rd in QBR. Just a laundry list of stats where he's at the top, or if not at the top, in the top 5. Wilson and this offense look amazing, and to me, I sure hope he's the unanimous MVP. Thanks for watching this week's episode. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Let me know what you want to hear about for next week. Until then, I'm Nate Smith, and this was Tossing the Pigskin.